Sebastian here on the historic streets of Monaco, and the world's premier electric racing series has been here since 2015. For the first time ever, it's a double header in Monte Carlo, and 24 hours ago we saw Oliver Rowland taking his third victory of the season, his first here, though Sam Bird, he crashed in qualifying. He'll be starting this race from the pit lane, Edo Mortara alongside him on the back row of the grid. Next up is Nico Müller and Robin Freins. Müller missed out on the podium due to a pit boost problem yesterday, but assisted his teammate to a podium finish. Next up, you've got David Vergne and Mitch Evans in the Jaguar TCS Racing. That's his worst starting position since Sao Paulo. Barnard was denied a dual spot after the problems in qualifying for his teammates, and as such, he is right down the order. Then it's Nyck Cassidy and Jake Hughes a little bit further up. Cassidy not made a duels so far in season 11. Further up the order, you've got the likes of Jake Dennis as well as Lucas de Grassi, and then inside the top 10, this is how it all works out. Pascal Wehrlein, he missed the duels for the third time in 5 races, but now sits second in the Drivers' Championship after 6th at the checkered flag. Zay Maloney equals his career best starting position as he seeks his first points in Formula E. Sebastian Buemi, that's his best starting position of the season, and he has got the Briton Dan Ticktum alongside him. He's been in imperious form, but was furious after a team error in qualifying meant his dual lap was in 300 kilowatts instead of 350. De Costa, he was in the wall yesterday after an over-ambitious overtake at the final corner. He'll be aiming for redemption at the track he won on in 2021. Vandoorne gets his best grid slot of season 11. He's had 5 points finishes this year and lines up 5th on the grid today. The second row of the grid is occupied by the 2 DS Penskes. Both drivers were off track in the dual semi-finals and had their lap times cancelled. Gunther, though, starts third. That's his best grid position in Monaco. The upshot is Nyck de Vries inherited second on the grid after the DS blunder, and he took his first podium since 2022 yesterday. Can he go one better than that here this afternoon? Oliver Rowland, his second Monaco pole, and he was the winner, of course, yesterday. Now sits 37 points clear in the Drivers' Championship.
There's Sam Bird sitting at the end of the pit lane, so the team have done a great job rebuilding his car after a fairly big accident. So they line up here, no formation lap in Formula E. If you're new, welcome. They just pull up 2 grid slots. You see the smoke coming off the tyres, getting a little bit of temperature into the rear tyres, and then we settle straight into the race.
As you see, the Princess there receiving a bouquet ahead of the start of this race. I actually don't think Sam Bird being in the pit lane will be such a bad place to be. He'll miss any incident at the first corner because he cuts along through the inside.
Yeah, it's a safer route, isn't it? Taking the pit lane cuts through the inside, behind the curb, the apex of the first corner. Here we go, Tom.
So this is going to be a drying circuit then for this E-Prix. You can see the sunshine is out for the first time in quite a few hours here in Monte Carlo, and what will happen when the lights go out, and crucially when the checkered flag falls in 29 laps time. It is all eyes on the lights. The 5 red lights come on. Who will reign supreme here in Monaco as we go green and go racing? Great start from the front row of the grid for Nyck de Vries, but it's Oliver Rowland who chops over and gets the lead of the race from pole position, side by side with the 2 DS Penske's up the hill into Saint-Devant. Everybody taking it quite clean through the first couple of corners, but trying to find grip as we head towards Casino Square.
That was very disciplined, actually, from all drivers, and I think what we've been talking about crewing ahead of the race is this is a long game race. You're not going to win it at the first corner, and I think it was actually, look, you accepted where you went off the line, and then just, it's almost like a parade lap through the first corner, because we know that if you go damage your car there, then it's a long afternoon.
Yeah, but it's kicking off here. Look at this round the outside. That is former world champion Jake Dennis having a look at Pascal Wehrlein. They've got a lot of history, those two. And Jake Hughes now alongside Nyck Cassidy as well.
Yeah, look at this into the hairpin. This was going to Constantine up over to make it through. One of the Lolas on the inside. That's de Grassi right over the curb on the inside of his teammate. You can see them fishtailing out of the corner as they try to find some grip on this constantly evolving racetrack into the tunnel. This is the only dry part of the circuit.
But de Grassi's gained there. He's gained 2 places, so that worked out really well for him. Dennis and Cassidy were out wide, and de Grassi's gained 2 places. Good move there.
Yeah, Mortara's lost some ground here on the opener as well. He's in 20th place. Müller also down in 21st as well, so not worked out well on the start for them. In towards the New Vel chicane we go, and it's nose-to-tail action between the field, side by side there in the background. That's Sam Bird trying to get the better, Robin Freins trying to get the better with Taylor Barnard, actually, who's lost a couple of places there on the start as well. But it's Oliver Rowland that leads, and look at the lack of spray already. It's starting to dry out quite quickly. There's a very good possibility we'll get a dry line before the end of this race.
So while it's settled a little bit, let's quickly talk about tactics here, Tom. every driver's got to take attack mode. What does that do? It gives you an extra 50 kilowatts of power, but in these conditions, crucially, it also gives you four-wheel drive. And we saw in qualifying, that's worth sometimes up to 6-7 seconds. So that'll give them a great opportunity to overtake. I think anyone outside the top 10 will try and get an early attack mode when we've got these greasy conditions to try and gain a chunk of places.
Yeah, it's been a lot of discipline from the drivers in these early laps. A few little wheel banging, but nothing that's...
Use the power.
The problem you've got, though, is that you're arriving at the corner faster, and we have seen drivers making mistakes, crucially, in qualifying, like we had earlier on this morning.
Yeah, well, that might be the case there with Ticktum, as we yet to see him take advantage of the attack mode. But just behind him, Dennis does have that.
Yeah, Vergne's gone in there as well as Max Gunther, so the two DS Penske's opting for the same strategy. I wonder if they might be able to work together here, the two DS Penske's, to try and benefit one another in the race. Look at Nyck de Vries all over the back of Oliver Rowland here.
Yeah, the game of working together, it tends to be around energy efficiency, but let's remember, in a wet race, that's not so much of a problem. You know, at the moment, they're lapping in the 155s. There isn't going to be a problem in terms of energy. They start the race with 70% of what they would need to finish a full dry race, but with slower pace in the wet, this isn't going to be energy limited.
A bit of variance in some of the attack mode strategies as well. David Beckman in particular in the Cupra Kiro, he's gone for 6 minutes early on, which means he'll only have 2 minutes later on in the race. Let's see how that works out for him. Vergne there all over the back of Nyck de Vries.
Yeah, and de Vries is doing Rowland a favour here, isn't he? Because the longer that de Vries can hold, you know, that pack of cars behind him, the longer it's going to benefit Rowland. You know, those 7 cars behind, they want to get past de Vries and Rowland, but de Vries doing great defensive drive here.
Yeah, Buemi now just under a minute of attack mode left. He should be able to clear both these cars using that. We're going to see him leaving, Vergne has attack mode, so that's going to neutralise that, but that will put de Vries under a lot of pressure.
And yeah, look at that, straight away driving past him like he's standing still down this start-finish straight. So the DS and the Envision are through. De Vries down to 4th place. That'll, of course, work in his favour a little bit later on, hopefully for Nyck de Vries, but easy to see how visible the difference is there for him. Gunther is the next man on the attack against the Mahindra driver. Got a yellow down at T1 as well. I think it's David Beckman who's come to some problems. Let's wait and see what's going on there as de Vries goes into attack mode. Where's he going to emerge? It's in front of Jake Dennis, who's coming to the end of his first attack mode deployment, as we look at Ticktum lunging on the inside of Max Gunther down into Mirabeau. Can he get that one done? Let's wait and see. Oh, he's in the barrier at Portier. Lucas de Grassi looks to be out of the E-Prix. That's a shame for Lola Yamaha Apps. They have had a shocker of a weekend.
Yellow in 3, 2, 1, full course yellow.
So the race is neutralised then, full course yellow. This is effectively a virtual safety car, so the drivers have to reduce pace, and it keeps the gaps at pretty much a constant. The only one that was going to be at a disadvantage because of the attack mode was Lucas de Grassi. He's now out, so thankfully it's not disadvantaged anybody who was at that point in the race.
There was de Grassi. You could see with him sort of nibbling at the back of Dennis as he came round Lowe's hairpin. He just had the frustration. I've got attack mode, I've got to go. He sent it and then gone, oh, there's a tight corner coming up. Sort of, you know, what do you call it, red mist moment.
He only lives down the road from there. He should have known that corner.
Absolutely.
This has worked really nicely, though, for Jean-Eric Vergne. He's got a 3.5 second lead over Oliver Rowland. I know Rowland has still got one attack mode to use, but every other driver behind the DS Penske, aside from Rowland, has used one attack mode deployment, so he's in a good position at the moment, you would have to think.
Yeah, he cleared Rowland, doesn't it? That was critical, because Gunther got stuck behind de Vries and Rowland, whereas Vergne got ahead, and that's the difference. That's why he's broken away. So it just shows the importance of, it's one thing to get attack mode, but to use it effectively is so important.
I think keep an eye as well for the likes of Cassidy, Wehrlein, Evans, etc. They've all got 2 attack modes left remaining, and our virtual race engineer agrees with that as well, saying that it's a huge advantage. So down in towards Tabat we go. You can see the circuit now visibly drying out. It's getting faster and faster as the laps go and tick down. We head down this back straight. There is Evans with Mortara. Mortara's just gone into his attack mode, so no point Evans fighting it too hard. That stick, he's got track position, he's got the inside line, and look at this, because Wehrlein can try and pick his pocket into Anthony Nogues. His teammate tried that yesterday, and he ended it in the barrier, but now he's got traction on the exit of the corner, pulls alongside and blasts past Norman Nato, and Muller following him through for position as well. Oh, contact down to the first corner. Into the barrier, almost there for Mitch Evans, and that's allowed Wehrlein to come through as well as get past Jake Hughes. So 2 places gained in the space of a corner there for Pascal Wehrlein.
Yeah, that helped make up for the time he lost going into the final corner around the outside.
Great move.
Outside move there at Casino Square for Mitch Evans has pulled that off absolutely brilliantly. Down the hill we go, in towards Mirabeau. There is Tickton keeping a watching brief. We've got a yellow at turn 3.
Might be debris.
Yeah, possibly a bit of debris. Have had a smashing of contact. Oh, no. It's Muller.
Hey, push.
So Nico Muller is in some strife, and that, if it can't be recovered quickly, which I don't think it will be there, is going to be either a full course yellow, possibly a safety car. So if that happens, Vries and Muller, well, Vries and Muller not necessarily because he's out of the race now, but Vries will be at a disadvantage for that because he's in attack mode.
I think he's parked near the gap of the barrier, though, where that orange barrier was. I think they can just pull the car backwards. So
yeah, I was trying to recognise where that was at Casino Square.
Yeah,
Safety car, though. I don't think the gap's big enough to get the car through there by the looks of it. So
they've gone full safety car as well.
Lap, so we should be okay in that respect. But this is played beautifully into the hands of the likes of Oliver Rowland for Barnard, for Evans. Anybody who's got 2 attack mode deployments are having a cracker. Whilst we now see the safety car will be coming.
Vries has lost out here, isn't he? He's the one who was in attack mode for the safety car, so he's the one who's lost out here.
So a virtual race engineer, as we said, Rowland's got an energy advantage. He's been saving more than 0.2% per lap than the leader, and he's still got 2 attack mode deployments. So once again, it is falling into the hands of Oliver Rowland quite nicely here, but there's still half the race to go. Safety car then in at the end of this lap. Jean-Eric Vergne it is that will lead the field. He now effectively inside the pit box. Green flag flies, and the racing will resume here on the streets of Monte Carlo as they come out of Anthony Noakes and aim for the timing line. So Vergne leads Rowland, leads De Vries. Who's going to get the jump down towards the first corner? De Vries
thinking about it.
Yeah, he had a great launch out of Anthony Noakes there, didn't he? But he's not quite close enough. Look at Buemi trying for the inside line on Gunther. Nothing doing for him there, though.
It's tricky, isn't it, on these first laps, because you're trying to get the tyres back up to temperature, and you see Jean-Eric Vergne just trying to make a bit of a run for it. Rowland, I think, will now wait a couple of laps to try and open up some sort of a gap to the field behind, so he doesn't drop too many places when he goes for attack mode.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 bunched up.
Oh, look at this, bunched up as well. De Vries looking for the inside line on Rowland. He knows that, Nyck De Vries, and De Costa there being shuffled to the outside behind Sebastian Buemi. Vandoorne's now on his outside coming in towards Fairmont. Keeping a watching brief on proceedings is Nyck Cassidy, and that is Dave Maloney into bother as well. 3 cars into 1. They just about make it through, but at the expense of Edo Mortara, who was right on the outside of that corner. Goodness me, it is action stations aplenty, as you would expect on a restart race here, but it's Vergne that The last time that Envision won a race was the final weekend of the season in London 2023. As Cassidy's looking for the move on the inside of the Vries down into Mirabeau. There was a gap there. It was aggressive from Cassidy and he made it stick. He's up through and now ahead of De Vries into third place.
And De Costa's got De Vries as well.
Yeah, so De Costa making a move and De Vries a bit of a sitting duck now seemingly in the latter stage of this race. Cassidy's also got a bit more energy to expend, so he saved energy in the opening stages of this one, and I wonder whether that will allow him to push on like we have with this drying track here.
De Costa, I know he wants to get past, but it's looking quite edgy, isn't it? We just need to make sure we get to the end, because actually fourth will be a decent haul of points. And let's not forget, he is a title contender along with his teammate Pascal Wehrlein here.
So up through the rise we go, and he is still looking very menacing here as Antonio Felix da Costa. Seems like the second sector is the one where he's strong. Last time around, by the way, Sebastian Buemi set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:39.556. So though he's been told he's got a comfortable margin over Oliver Rowland, the Swiss driver is not backing down on this one and is continuing to pound in the lap and the sector times here.
Yeah, the track's flying up as well, so the grip's just coming and the lap time's coming, and the battle for third and fourth rages on. You can see, actually, you know, they've kind of dropped De Vries, haven't they? They've dropped De Vries by nearly... Whoa, Da Costa! That was a big slide into the second part of Portier, but he caught it.
Yeah, it's really pushing the envelope then here is Da Costa, but look at the time it's cost him coming through into the tunnel. Meanwhile, 2 laps to go for this man, Sebastian Buemi, separating him from his third win on the streets of Monte Carlo. He won it back in the Gen 1 era of 2015 and also in 2017 when we had this as a biannual event on the Formula E. I'm world champion at the moment. Oh, Dennis, though, looking really on the ragged edge of adhesion coming through that swim course chicane as Buemi begins the final lap of racing here in Monte Carlo for 2025. And what a weekend. To the end of it will be for the Swiss driver here. Fastest laps coming in as the track continues to improve. It dries out, and this has been an absolute masterclass. There is no substitute for experience, especially in Formula E when we get races like this. And Sebastian Buemi started this one 8th on the grid. At the moment, he is leading the way at the beginning of this final lap in commanding style.
Yeah, he used his attack modes wisely, didn't he? Gained the track positions, kept it clean when he needed to, and cycled his way to the front, and it's worked out very, very well for him. Look at it, it's a comfortable gap now, nearly 5 seconds. It's not often we see big gaps like this in Formula E, is it?
Certainly isn't.
We have fastest lap. We have fastest lap.
No, you don't. You did.
It's just gone to Da Costa, hasn't it? So it's a delay team radio message there for Nyck Cassidy, and well, Da Costa will be taking that extra point home for fastest lap then here, but we head into the final sector with Sebastian Buemi, and as a team that have had their back against the wall over the last 18 months since their championship for the teams back in 2023, and has not gone all their own way. The only highlights really from season 10 were a couple of podiums back in Portland, but now it is just a case of 2 more corners remaining for Sebastian Buemi, separating him from Envision's first win since the final race of 2023 and Buemi's first win since 2019. And the Swiss driver wins on the streets of Monaco. Buemi takes the checkered flag in commanding style from Oliver Rowland. Nyck Cassidy will come home to take his first podium of the season in 3rd place. Da Costa over the line in 4th position. A fantastic end to the race as well further down between Vergne, Wehrlein, Gunther, Dennis and also Vandoorne as they come to take the checkered flag nose to tail with one another. And the relief for Sylvain Philippe.
The checkered flag. We've won Monaco. Come on! Yes!
Sebastian Buemi wins the Monaco E-Prix for the 3rd time. He won it in 2015, he won it in 2017, and he wins it again in 2025. Karun, let's catch up with him.
Let's try and catch him. Sebastian is covered in the commentary box. Congratulations. What a tricky race in those conditions for you.
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, hard to believe. Just got to be lucky from time to time, but today we had great pace, great attack mode, you know, timing, amazing. 3-time Monaco winner, not bad.
Yeah, well, much better than not bad. And It's been a tough 18 months for the team since you guys won the team's championship. This must be a bit of a relief to have another win now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been through a lot. So obviously to win now, it's something incredible. I think those guys deserve way more, you know. I let them down quite a few times, and now today to win, you know, especially here, it's something very special. So yeah, very thankful to them.
Well, congratulations, and enjoy the celebrations tonight.
Thank you.
Sebastian Buemi, his third Monaco E-Prix win, his first win on the fall circuit here on the streets of Monte Carlo. He's only taken 3 podium finishes incidentally. Well, Buemi makes his way to the winner's circle for the first time since 2019. And relief on the faces of all at Envision after a turbulent 18 months. Only a couple of podiums really being there. And he will be delighted, the team will be overjoyed. Rowland in second place as well, more points for him, extending his lead in the Drivers' Championship. And also Nyck Cassidy on the right-hand side there, his first visit to the rostrum of the 2025 season as well. We'll be catching up with all the drivers, but it is Sebastian Buemi who is the king. A record-breaking 14th career victory for Sebastian Buemi on the streets of Monte Carlo as the champagne shower now begins and the celebrations will go on long.